All right, good morning. Today is Friday, April 17th. We are here with Supervisor Estelle Fennell, 2nd District Supervisor, with another episode of Sheltering with the Supes. Estelle, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing fine, thanks, Sean. You know, it's a little chillier this morning, but it's fine inside.
Yeah, especially after a couple of days of nice sunshine. That was beautiful. Hopefully,
Yeah, I know.
hopefully the
I
rain
know.
holds off. So we wanted uh, today we wanted to give a brief kind of update of the situation of COVID-19 in Humboldt County and get to a quick couple questions, regarding some developments that have happened recently. So, can you give us kind of a broad overview of where we stand now with COVID in Humboldt?
Well, the broad overview, Sean, is that we're doing well. The shelter in place definitely seems to be working. We had a time there of about 6 days where we didn't have any new cases, and then a couple of days in a row we had 2 new cases. So we're up to 52 confirmed cases with 3 hospitalizations. We're doing very well in Humboldt County with regard to testing compared to other areas. Uh, Population wise we're doing well, but we still have that issue where we can't test everybody. The local testing lab so far has done something along close to 1,500 tests. Well, not the local one, the tests in general have been about 1,500 with about, let's see, uh, about 860 done at the lab and about 600 done by other labs. And so far, the public health department has a capacity now of about 580 tests, which is good, and they can process close to 60 samples a day. So we're doing well. We're still in that mode of shelter in place. More and more people are making masks and sharing them, and that's really good. People are kind of adapting to that and realizing the importance of it. And so things are doing okay. Still have a lot of challenges, of course.
A lot of challenges, definitely. I know that people have a lot of questions. Um,
Yeah.
some people are scared too. It's just one of those kind of uncertain times that we've never been in. What about the business community? I saw a couple of days ago, I think uh, there was last reported, I think north of $21 million in reported losses from local businesses. Where should they be going for help? How are they doing right now?
Well, one of the things that we did early on in this emergency, Sean, is that we set up a whole division for businesses in the emergency operations center,
Yeah.
and so that's very robust. It's been headed up by Scott Adair, our economic development director, with a lot of people involved representing business community and also SBDC and those kind of guys. So at this point, it's really important for people to stay involved with that economic development area of our EOC and become a part of the survey if possible too, because that's where we get our figures in terms of the revenue loss and also the loss of jobs in the various areas. And it drills down to every small community in the county. So if you want to get involved with those guys, the best way to do it is to give them a call. The number is 268-2527. That's 268-2527. And if you don't get an answer right away, just leave a message. They will get back to you. You can also contact them by going to covidinfo at co.humboldt.ca.us. And that you can put on the subject line just so they know what you're aiming for. Is you can put business questions, something like that, and they will get back to you. They've been extremely active and working really hard in terms of how we're going to get to the next phase. And I know that that's a question on a lot of people's minds is when do we change and reopen the business community? But again, I would say we've done things like drill down to what exactly is an essential business and what is not an essential business, and refine that. And that's been defined by our own group, questions that come up. So all of those things are being worked on. And we know and recognize that this is a huge challenge for the business community, because it's so many people are unemployed right now because the business community can't be up and running. So we all know this was a huge side effect of this pandemic. We're working really hard to make it better.
Yeah, it's been really great to see our economic development folks, really not miss a beat and jump into the EOC and do a lot of proactive outreach to businesses to make sure that they have support. It's, I've been with the county going on 8 years now, and in past emergencies, that is something that I've always wanted to see kind of improve. And so it's great to see our economic development team partner with, SBDC and so many local businesses and nonprofits to make sure that we can do everything we can to help out the local business community. And you touched on it a little bit, in terms of reopening the economy. We've heard, the president and Governor Newsom talk about that idea. Are we there yet? Are we getting ready to reopen the economy? And if so, what is that process going to look like?
Well, I referenced the EOC earlier, and I think people may or may not have a good idea of what an emergency operations center is like. But what's happening in there is you've got people looking at all the potential rollout of the response to the emergency. And of course, the first thing that they were doing was looking at how we would deal with a surge in hospital care. There's a lot of focus now on how do we get back to the old normal. I don't think we'll have the old normal for quite some time, but at least, as they say, reopen the economy. And so the governor has stated that there are 6 particular points that he needs to see addressed before he would suggest that we roll back the stay in place. And we won't really be getting any update on that for about a couple of weeks, is what he has said. One of the more pivotal points of that is the ability to test. And as we know, that's been a challenge throughout the nation. And unfortunate too, but that's where we are. So if we can get to that point where we can do a more robust testing, then we won't have to worry so much about that unknown of who can infect whom. So that's one key issue that he wants. He wants to be able to reduce the exposure of vulnerable people, continuing preparation for a future surge, and also put in regulations that I guess create policies for how to social distance. If you open up businesses, how would a restaurant run if people could attend a restaurant? How would you do that? So those are the kind of things he wants in place. And then and of course our planning group is looking at that as well. How can we make that fit in Humboldt County? What businesses could be rolled back in and off the non-essential list? So, again, I would say as the governor said, we won't be seeing any real change in that for another couple of weeks, but they're definitely working on it.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, Supervisor Fennell, to see, so many people working so feverishly on policy changes as this is rolling out. Yeah. I mean, in a lot of ways, it's like we're revamping large swaths of public services kind of on the fly. But it's great to see so many people being dedicated to it and trying to really help everybody involved with these policy changes.
One of the things I've talked a lot about, I always do, it's a favorite model of mine, is teamwork. I've never seen the kind of teamwork that I've seen here. And I see at this point, our whole community is the team. Everyone who is honoring the shelter in place, all people who are making masks, who are going out and helping with the homeless. I mean, everybody who's called in as part of the business survey and given their feedback so that we know where we stand. We're all a part of a team. And that I think is going to get us to the better place pretty quickly. And right now, this team has been very successful, I think.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the silver linings to all this, is seeing everybody come together and help each other out. So I think we're going to get to probably one final question.
Okay.
That is around campgrounds for the homeless. Can you give us kind of a status update on that?
Yes, that's another issue that has been revamped as we go along. So of course, the very first question was, how do we protect people who are vulnerable, and how do we ensure that people who either are showing symptoms or have been exposed to people who've shown symptoms are tested and protected. And so to that end, we've already identified hotel rooms and people are staying in those, and we've prepared for even more. The question of people who have not been exposed, who are not, quote, in the vulnerable category, how do we help them to shelter in place with enough social distancing? Arcata has actually done that in one instance, and they've been able to put a campground in place with about 19 tent areas. And the county's helping already with some less formal things. They've been helping with getting, we've been helping with getting funding, food, those kind of supplies, water stations, porta potties, getting tents, extra equipment out to people who are out camping out, so that they can have their own spaces. So that seems to be working on a less than formal way. But again, if somebody has an idea of a place and wants some help, the county is there to help. The county can't staff it. That's just not in the works. But otherwise, there was an instance down in LA, I know, where the Veteran Administration created a campground as well. The problem with the concept of the campground is it's not like one of those other disasters like a hurricane or earthquake or whatever, where you see these big encampments of refugees, people who need somewhere because their home is gone. You can't have that kind of close knit. So it's a challenge, but the county is definitely working on it where we can.
Yeah, it's a big issue, but again, it's good to see a lot of different jurisdictions and agencies doing doing what they can to help out. Well, thank you for the update, Estelle. I think that's all the questions that I have for today. I know we wanted to try to keep these brief and to the point, so that people can get an update quickly this morning or maybe this afternoon. What about the rest of the day? Do you have plans? And more importantly, do you have plans for soup today? Sheltering with the soup? We need some soup.
I know. I'm not sure yet, but with the way things are going, there's all sorts of ingredients in there for soup, and I'm sure there'll be a delicious one. And I promise next time I'll already have it ready. It's kind of fun doing this whole soup thing. I do want to say very, very briefly that I just can't say enough for the people of Humboldt County for recognizing how important this is. There are places that didn't take the steps that our health officer has done. And yes, we do have 52 cases, but it could have been so much worse, because obviously the virus is circulating out there. We have 8 cases that were community spread. And so let's keep the work going the way we're going, and we'll figure out how to roll out of this and get into a nice summer, hopefully.
Hopefully.
And thanks, everybody.
Great. Thank you, Estelle. Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you too, Sean. Take care.
You too.
Bye.